Conecta el mundo.
Hermann Vivier, Bitcoin Ekasi, South Africa.
Eckhart Tolle published in 2005 your favorite book, A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. The book encourages the reader to participate in honest self-assessment and can lead to positive change. Is it difficult to do an honest self-evaluation?
Yes.
Do you prefer the Indian Ocean over the Atlantic Ocean?
Yes.
South Africa is famous for braai, the African version of barbecuing. Can you imagine a life without it?
No.
Will South Africa qualify for the World Cup?
No.
Robert Kelly Slater is the youngest at age 20 and also the oldest at age 39 to win the World Surf League. He's crowned champion for 11 times, including 5 consecutive titles between 1994 and 1998. Is he the greatest surfer of all time?
Definitely yes.
In November 1989, the punk band The Offspring released the song Pretty Fly. Do all the girls still say that you're a pretty fly for a white guy?
No. No.
Part of the world-known garden route is the Tsikikama National Park, where you can make the highest bungee jump in the world. Did you already take the jump?
No.
Will you ever move to outside of South Africa?
Yes. Yes.
Vetkoek is definitely better than biltong.
No.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connected World Weekly Podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Stef. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. And this is episode 12 of Connected World. Well, Stef, how are you doing this week?
I'm fine, Edward. I'm really fine. How are you?
Well, I'm better now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you look
I'm
fine
fine
to me.
Thanks.
Great. Hey, and Edward, yeah, you know, the second part of this episode will be with Hermann Vivier from Bitcoin Ekasi.
Yeah, exactly.
And we already talked to him a bit, and yeah, he talks Afrikaans, right? So that's his main language, and it's so similar to Dutch, and I think it's so funny to talk with him. So I think after the show we have to talk more because
you have the African vibes, right?
Yeah, but it's similar.
No, it's a nice language.
Yeah, it's similar, but some words are completely the same, and some of the words are slightly different. But I really like that language. I don't know why, but it's so nice to hear and to talk with. So
and I think that Flemish is even more alike with African, South African, than Dutch. But yeah,
and there was one word I don't know what it was, provider or something. What was the word again? So shop, provider, and then in Afrikaans. I don't know.
And then it was exactly the same, or
no, it was a verschaffer.
Oh, verschaffer, yeah.
But
en duimspijker.
It's such a nice find, verschaffer, because it's in Holland we say shop or a winkel, and and in Afrikaans it says verschaffer, but a shop verschaffs things, so it's. Yeah,
I think sense. That's the same with Flemish. Also, some words tell what they're doing instead of being a whole nother word. So it's easier.
Yeah, it's much easier, man.
It's easier for
learning.
Why
don't we pack our stuff and move to South Africa? The weather is nice over there. Maybe Herman can teach us how to surf.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
I think you're more like a guy who's laying on the beach with a cocktail.
And I would really like that. No, but I also like the water and the sea. Yeah. And my sister likes surfing, so that would be awesome too. I'll bring her.
But golf surf or windsurf?
Yeah, no, golf surf. And she worked also when she was studying for O'Neill.
cool.
the surfing branch.
That's obviously the brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool, man.
And she likes the sun and the sea and the water. Well, I like it too, but I live very far from the sea now, so that's too bad.
That's
it's
why
2.5 hours.
Let's move to South Africa, Edward.
Let's do that.
Hey, but I think it's a very interesting talk with Hermann, and I really like the project. We should ask him, by the way, after the interview, where people can donate, because I think it's very important for people to donate to that project. It's such a nice guy, and it's a bit similar to the Bitcoin Beach project in El Salvador. But now it's in South Africa, and he's teaching all those kids how to surf, but also stuff about Bitcoin and how they can use it and use it for their own good. So I think it's a very important stuff he's doing over there.
It's a real community and binding with Lightning. That's nice. Yeah.
So we will ask him after the interview, and we will also put a link in our show notes. And I didn't make a donation yet, but I think I will do it after this recording, Edward.
Yeah,
and
me too. I think it's a good cause, and what he's doing there is really good for adoption and for the children, of course, but also for adoption and Lightning. And that's what we all want. So,
Oh, and by the way, Edward, maybe if people find it difficult to donate, maybe we can propose to people to donate to our Telegram bot.
And then we can. It's a good idea.
We can forward it to Hermann. So if you want to donate, you can use our Telegram bot in Connect the World, obviously. Yeah, and you can also put like a nice message in it. We can also forward this message to Hermann. And and maybe it's nice for you to let us know why you think it's a good project, why you want to donate, where you're from, for instance, and we will forward it all to Hermann.
Yeah,
but Edward, as always, we have to talk about the statistic of the Lightning Network first, and about our Rings of Fire community, and the second part will be with Hermann from Bitcoin Ekasi.
All right, have fun.
Have fun.
Conectează lumea.
So last week we had a little over 21.3 Bitcoin pushed into the Lightning Network, and this week it's a little less than 22. So we added 56 million Satoshis with around 760 members participating in over 92 rings, Edward.
Yeah, I want to see the 100. That would be great.
That's a little party.
But it's not that far.
No, it's not that far indeed. Only 8.
Exactly.
Cool.
And we are now at block height 723,000, I see. So that's nice. And the Lightning Network as a whole, we always look to that, and we see 97 nodes more than last week, more than 20,450. And more than 22 Bitcoin as network capacity in the world. So that's great.
We pushed more than 20 to Bitcoin last week, right? Because the total is now...
it's 3,444. So that's
a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Hey, and today's value of 1 million Satoshis is $426, 376 euros, and 2,700 Chinese yuan.
Yep.
Conecta el mundo.
For the news this week, there was an update for LN Bits to be noted. They updated LNURL point of sale and LNURL devices to give extension greater scope. And they also added a fake wallet, so LN Bits can be used completely detached from your Bitcoin as a centralized payment server. That's great. And BTCP server also has an update like last week. Or this week they had several bug fixes and 2 UI improvements. That's also nice. To use sticky headers for pages with tab navigation, for example. And then for Umbrel and MyNode, I saw that MyNode had also an upgrade of LND, Loop, BTC server, Spectre, and Balance of Satoshis. And they improved the QR code scanning, and add a toggle for BIP 37 and BIP 157. And for Umbrel, this update brings again some extra apps, and I also looked into the apps. I think it's also very important to say that if you're running Umbrel on a Raspberry Pi, choose careful to what you will use extra, because it is not always a good idea. But it's interesting to see the apps they added. Tailscape VPN I saw, and Urbit. And Urbit is a personal operating system designed from scratch to run peer-to-peer applications. So that's
and that Tailscape VPN is useful if you want to reach your node from outside your network, right? That was I guess. Yeah, I saw that.
And they say it's a zero config VPN too. So very easy.
Yeah.
And Mercury Wallet and Hexa Wallet had some updates. And for all miners, we definitely have miners as listeners. We also have a great tip, and we will add the link in the show notes. It's an open source dashboard that monitors ASIC prices. So you can actually see if they're efficient and what they cost for when you run them. So perhaps it's nice to have a look at it.
Cool.
Connect the world.
And let's have a look at the rings forecast, because we have only 2 spots left at a soon-to-create 5 million Satoshis, the 13th ring. And we also have 2 spots left at 2 million Satoshis 15th ring. And for the other rings, I saw the 500k ring just filled up. So we have to open that one, but we are finishing 4 others. So it's a bit busy right now. So please give us some time to finish that one. And then we will open the 500k. And if you are looking for rings with other liquidity, you can always search for them within our Telegram group. And you can sign up using the polls.
Heel knap. Well.
And of course, we balanced rings last week. Actually, it were 2. Starting with the 1 million Satoshis 26th ring. And yeah, we had node owners from Spain, which we don't see that often. Germany, Sweden, Belgium, Holland, the USA, and Japan. That's, I think...
Nice combination.
Very nice combination. And just Stefan was the ringleader, and he is getting more and more experienced as a ringleader with node operators from all around the globe. I was a bit afraid that we ran into problems, but this was not really the case. Although Stefan thought he had some problems. This was funny. He just confused the build with the send command. So he got the ring balanced right away. Good job, Stefan, and a nice ring to hang on your wall of fame.
And so he first send it and then build it? Or
No, he thought he was building, so he was testing the route. So you can do that with the build command. So he said to me, but I have an error. It won't succeed, and he showed me the output, and I saw the famous line we're always searching for. Payments succeeded. So that means that he used the send command instead of the build command. But I mean, everything went fine, and
because the fees were low, right?
I think actually that they weren't low. They weren't low for all of the channels. So maybe he paid some satoshis, but we always fix that afterwards. So
exactly.
But it's not in my memory anymore.
No.
But Edwards, and I think, do we have the applause on the soundboard?
Because of course we have it.
Please play the applause. Because
all right.
we balanced the 2 million Satoshis 14th ring.
All right.
And this was a very tough one, man. I think I still have nightmares this week, all week, because this ring was unbelievably tough to balance. It took us around 1 week from start to finish. We had Jesse Huddle, who was very enthusiastic to start as a ringleader. He was perfectly prepared and ready to rumble, but we soon found out that we had some major issues in this ring, and even asked Crypto Cow to stand in as a ringleader. We do that when we experience some issues, because sometimes when you just ask someone else to run the balancing script, it suddenly works. So we tried
Exactly.
that also, but sometimes it does the trick. But it took us days to find out what was causing the problem. And Edward, the infamous channel DB file, so the channel database file from someone who's using Raspberry Blitz was the problem. After we got rid of a couple of gigabytes, we finally were able to balance this ring, this very tough ring. So thanks to both rings leaders, so also Jesse Hoddle, man, you were perfectly prepared, and because at the end it was CryptoCow who was able to run the balancing script. But man,
so the cheering is for all of them.
Yeah,
a great
it was
team
a
effort.
pain on the ass. And again, and I saw you did some research on the Raspberry Blitz.
Exactly.
Problems, right?
It's because we talked about it, I think, 2 different times before about the channel DB. I think with Alex and also with Small World. And Small World mentioned that when trying to balance, you try to find the roots. And every time you do that, it's a transaction. And the transaction fails because you're testing the fees. And the possibility to rebalance. And all those transactions will stay in the channel DB file, and it will make it very big, of course. And Small World made some effort to put something on GitHub to help that solving. But I think the problem here is not with the rebalance, of course. But with some Raspberry Blitz owners have very big channel DB files.
Normally it's around a couple of 100 megabytes, and
something about that.
With the node operators who are experiencing these kind of problems, there are a couple of gigabytes. And I thought from Jesse, from the one who had the Raspberry Blitz in that ring, it was even 36 gigabytes or something. So
and it can be 1 gigabyte. That's normal.
That's normal. It can be up to 1 gigabyte. But
exactly,
it's
and if you have more channels, then but
it can grow, but not to 36 gigabytes or something. That's very strange. But it's a Raspberry Blitz problem. We found out. And I spoke to the guy who had to fix that problem, and he said that compacting will be standard in the next Raspberry Blitz release. So it's solved by then. So nothing to worry about for the future. But it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and if you dare, you can of course help solving it to enter 2 lines in the conf file, and we will put the link in the show notes. But of course you can also wait if you are anxious if it will fail.
Please
but
check
it works.
Our Telegram group, because we also put it in our Telegram group, and because I found out that we have a lot of German members joining our Telegram group, which is very nice, of course, because there's also a big Telegram group 21 in Germany, but I think most of them are using Raspberry Blitz. So I think it's also good for them to know, and maybe they can share this episode or maybe some of our messages from our group to that group, because I think it's good to know for the node operators with Raspberry Blitz in that community. Because it can cause a lot of more problems. So we have to help each other out.
Exactly, connecting the worlds, right? Yeah. You're absolutely right. No, well, everything is done and sorted, I think. Thanks, Stef, again. And let's go to the lightning notes.
Yes, let's.
Verbind de wereld.
Make sure to secure your home network. So change default passwords and use 2-factor authentication where possible. And keep your software up to date. That's also very important. Please keep in mind that the whole Lightning network is very experimental. Software like MyNode, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, for example, and many others, and LND also, are still in beta phase. Don't blindly run terminal commands on your node if you don't understand them yourself, and especially when prefixed with sudo. And the last one is also very important. Don't use Satoshis that you're not willing to lose. So if you're not aware of all security considerations, then read into it. Educate yourself, read articles, ask for help in Telegram groups with high reputation like ours, and listen to podcasts and learn by doing. Otherwise, don't participate.
Also, you can stay informed by following us on Twitter. You can find us at Satoshi Radio ROF. and follow our lightning leader, Jonī Kyasshu. Join our Telegram groups, Satoshi Radio, Ring of Fire, and Connect the World. And check our website, satoshi.radio. It would be nice for you to be part of our Amboss community. You can find us there on Satoshi Radio. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use Podcasting 2.0 to listen to Connect the World. And you can check SAT trading for the current value. You can find all this information, of course, also in the show notes as well.
All right, let's get on to the show.
Conecte o mundo.
So, Hermann, great to have you here from South Africa. Amazing.
Yeah, good to be here.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we are fine, man. We are very happy to have you on the show. And I saw that you studied philosophy and literature at the University of Amsterdam. I'm living nearby Amsterdam, by the way. What was your drive?
To get out of the university that I was at, I just wanted to travel, really.
Yeah, because you studied at the University of Cape Town, right?
Yeah, I was at University of Cape Town, and they had an exchange agreement with the University of Amsterdam.
Cool.
So you could qualify to exchange if you met the criteria.
And what did you study there?
I also studied philosophy and literature at University of Cape Town.
Yeah.
Cool,
yeah.
man.
Awesome. And what was your drive to study that? Because I think, well, philosophy and literature, that's something to find reasons in the world why we are here and what's the purpose. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a urge to understand human behavior, human thinking, what do the stories mean that we tell ourselves? We live our life based around stories, really, and I'd like to know what those stories mean and why do we believe certain stories.
Cool, man.
I think that's very important. Yeah. Life lessons.
Life lessons, indeed. Yeah. and where did your love for the tourism came from? You traveled a lot, obviously. You lived in Amsterdam, and you also lived in Denmark and Great Britain, if I recall well. And what? Yeah.
I don't know. I just was really curious about other places. South Africa is kind of isolated in a way. It's very far away. It's not easy to travel. You can't just get on a plane quickly and hop. Well, I mean you can, but it's more difficult to fly anywhere. It's kind of far from everywhere. So I was very curious about the rest of the world, and it was just exciting working in Europe. So many interesting places. Relatively close to each other. So many things to see and experience.
Yeah, I think.
And then you started a business with your wife in tourism, a tourism business. Is that also due to your traveling, or? Somewhat.
It's I think largely it's more due to the fact that she's from Russia. So we actually met one another in Amsterdam while we were studying there, and so she had some contacts in Russia that was really interested to come to South Africa, and so we kind of put a little holiday together for them, and it started from there.
Cool.
Sort of evolved.
And I thought that Paris was the city of love, but it's also Amsterdam is also obviously.
Yeah, for me it was definitely Amsterdam. I mean, I actually went to Amsterdam to meet up with my girlfriend of 6 years at that time, and she dumped me, and then 3 days later I met my wife in Amsterdam.
Cool.
In Amsterdam.
So it
awesome.
definitely is the city of love. For at least it was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you eventually marry? Was it also there, or was it in Africa?
No, it was in Cape Town.
In Cape Town, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I've read somewhere, I don't know if it's true, but that you were 9 when you started surfing, because you really love surfing. Where did you surf for the first time?
My parents moved to a little beach town when I was 5 years old, and my mother didn't know what to do with me because she was they were very young when I was born, so she didn't really know what to do with a 5-year-old boy. So she just took me to the beach, and then kind of shoved me into the ocean. She had no idea what to do. She was from a city that was nowhere near the ocean, so. But there were other people around on the beach, and I just looked at them, and I, figured that looked like fun. And then a couple of years later, I just, got a board and started surfing. It was more kind of an escape, really. Escaping into the ocean, getting away from all the crap that happens on land.
Yeah.
It's kind of what pushed me into the ocean, to be honest.
Yeah, cool, man.
Well, it's nice that it helps you.
A couple of years later, you run your own surf school, and you're using Bitcoin as you wanted to teach a lot of Bitcoin to the kids that participate at the school and also the township around. So cool, man. I think it's a great story, and obviously that's obviously the reason that we invited you to our show. But we have a part.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, cool, man. And we want to ask you all these questions. We have obviously the part 21 minutes to do so. So I propose to hit that part, guys, and ask you some questions, Herman.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
世界をつなごう
Okay, well, let's start with Lightning. What was your first experience with the Lightning Network, and do you still know what you did back then?
I mean, I'd been following development in Bitcoin and Lightning for a while, and I never really used it. And then when Moon Wallet came out, I was like, no, okay, I've got to give this a go. I mean, it's so straightforward. So a friend of mine and myself, we just kind of screwed around a bit, and we were trying to see how many payments we could send back and forth between one another. We started with I think 50 South African cents, so that's less than that's less than 2.5 euro cents. And we just kept sending this back and forth between each other. He was in London in the UK, and I was in South Africa, and trying to see how far we could go.
Yeah, but it certainly reminds me of the beginning of internet, like sending a message and then
just doing it for the fuck of it.
But I mean, that is something that is what's Lightning all about, right? That you can send very small value to another person, cross-border payment. So I think that's very nice, man. And what was the aspect of the Bitcoin or Lightning that you are the most excited about?
I mean, I think it's exactly that. I think it's the ability to send each other just little small payments back and forth. I mean, it's going to have so many use cases. I think I was listening to a podcast, a local podcast, where I was paying per second or per 5 seconds in sats, and I mean that's it's incredible, that sort of thing. The ability to tip people tiny little amounts, that's to me that's really exciting. Because I think I'm quite annoyed with online advertising on Facebook and stuff, so I think Lightning can definitely do a lot there to generate revenue without these intrusive revenue models that the big companies use.
Yeah, and it's also directly to the creators. So
exactly.
Podcasting 2.0. Yeah, nice. And are there a lot of South Africans who are running a Lightning node at the moment?
I don't think there's too many. I think unfortunately in South Africa there's a lot of shitcoinery going on here.
Okay.
And scams. South Africa has been a victim to a huge amount of scams. So people are very skeptical about Bitcoin in general. I think the Bitcoin community is quite small, relatively speaking. And there's also a huge lack of education in general.
Yeah. So you are doing your part by hoping to create a fire starter for the goods of the Bitcoin and Lightning, of course, right?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and we have I think it's I think I can come up with 6 node operators who are participating in our community, in the Rings of Fire community, who are from South Africa. So that's very cool to see, because I saw a website. We talked about it. I think it was 2 episodes ago, Edward, that there was a website who was saying that there were only 6 or 8 nodes.
8 public nodes actively. So that and we were thinking, well, it couldn't be only 8 nodes in whole Africa, and they were stating like problems with infrastructure. I don't know if it's true, but
electricity is a big problem. We have rolling blackouts. Unfortunately.
So that's really a problem.
And how do the people buy their sets? Is it at an ATM or an exchange, or how does this work?
For the most part, it's still on big centralized exchanges. I think that the 2 biggest ones are Luno and Valor. So that's where most people buy it. But to be honest, those guys, those exchanges are full of. There's a lot of altcoin trading going on there. So but there is a very exciting. There's a company that launched recently where you can now buy tiny amounts of Bitcoin over the Lightning Network, and it comes straight to a self-custody wallet. And you can buy this in almost any store nationwide. It's a very exciting development. I bought. I went out and I bought 5 different vouchers of 10 euro cents each for cash, KYC free, at a local supermarket last week.
Cool.
And that you buy it directly into Lightning then? So no Bitcoin, directly Lightning?
Yeah, directly Lightning, yeah.
That's interesting.
There's a middleman, so you buy the voucher from the shop. They don't know you're buying Bitcoin, and then the voucher is converted to Lightning on this company's website.
Okay.
Yeah, here in Holland, we can't even buy Satoshis, right, Edward? We always need to buy on-chain Bitcoin and then convert it ourselves to Lightning, of course.
With a custodial service or with your own node or something. But that's right. Yeah. And what do you see as the biggest barrier for Lightning adoption in South Africa?
I think it's probably the fact that these big exchanges haven't implemented Lightning, where most people buy their sats. If these big exchanges implemented Lightning withdrawals, there's one exchange that we can use here called Paxful, but it's a peer-to-peer exchange. They've got Lightning integrated. But if the big centralized exchanges, if they could integrate Lightning, that would be a huge. But I don't think it's in their interest to do that. So I don't see that'll happen anytime soon, unfortunately.
No, but
and some custodial solutions for Lightning, because if they buy Bitcoin, then they can use like Breeze or some other Lightning wallet. I'm thinking why they're not using it, because every exchange has shitcoins, of course. So that we also have to have that here, but. I'm thinking, well, also the Lightning nodes, that it's interesting, of course, infrastructure, electricity, but some custodial service that makes you able to use it to buy things and to really use it as a bank. That's interesting, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think a big obstruction, not obstruction, but a big challenge for Lightning is also the unit bias. People go into the exchanges and they measure Bitcoin, in Bitcoin where they should really be measuring in sats. And so I think if exchanges simply not repriced, but if exchanges used sats as their standard, that would make a big difference, because people are comparing Bitcoin and altcoins 1-to-1. And they shouldn't be doing that, because it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. But so it's more on education. Sorry, Stef.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it's also an education thing, and I think it maybe needs some time to convince everyone. Of course, we already mentioned it. Of course, we know you from Bitcoin Ekasi, and it is an initiative similar to the Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador, founded by Michael Peterson. Of course, how did you start the idea of Bitcoin Ekasi, and what about Bitcoin Beach inspired you the most?
I think Bitcoin Beach inspired me because it showed me that a small initiative can have an impact that reaches far wider than the physical limitations of that organization. What we've been doing with our nonprofit for the last 10 years has had a big impact on the lives of the kids that we work with, but it's difficult to reach much wider than that. We've got 40 kids in our program, but there's hundreds of thousands of people who need help, and Bitcoin Beach really showed that an idea can have a big impact, and that idea being Bitcoin.
And if you were able to say it in one sentence or two, what's exactly the mission of Bitcoin Ekasi for the short time?
The mission of Bitcoin Ekasi is to help people understand and adopt Bitcoin in that community where we are active.
Yeah. And can you explain how Bitcoin and Lightning can help in the growth of Bitcoin Ekasi and even help a lot more people?
I think the most important thing that it can do for people is, and this is also taken from the Bitcoin Beach example, it can help poor people save for the future. There's a massive amount of people in South Africa who live on social grants that the government can't really afford to pay, and they eventually, sooner rather than later, they're going to run out of money to pay these social grants, and people have to start saving for their future. But poor people have never had an effective way of saving. Generally, if you save, you have to invest, otherwise you're losing out to inflation. But if you're investing, the things that come to mind, property and stocks and those sort of things. And if you don't have enough, if you don't have a large pool of capital, you can't invest in those things. So what do poor people invest in? I mean, up until now, there hasn't really been anything.
Exactly.
But Bitcoin lets them invest small amounts at a time.
Yeah. And do you also have then the remittances as Bitcoin, of the people from El Salvador?
No, remittances is not really such a big issue here. There is a remittance. There are remittances happening between South Africa and other African countries. So there's a lot of immigrants from other African countries here, people from Zimbabwe, Malawi, Mozambique, so on. But it's not as big as it is in El Salvador.
No.
That wouldn't be the main focus for us, no.
And I was also comparing it to perhaps with Tongan people. There you have also, if they can use a bank account or some version of Lightning, then they are able, with the remittances, of course, they have a little bit more money to actually save. And savings is so difficult if you are poor and you don't have anything left. So And we were looking also at the Bitcoin Ekasi overview on the Google Maps, and we see something about 13 merchants. Are they all accepting Bitcoin?
Not yet. No, we've got 3 of those merchants on board so far.
Okay.
We're working on another 3, but they are very skeptical.
So education again. It's so difficult.
Yeah, especially if there's been 2 of the world's biggest scams originating from your country.
Yeah. And that makes it even harder. But are you also actively helping out to connect the new merchants with Lightning, or?
No, I oversee the program, but our senior coach. Lutando, he works for the Surfer Kids. He's the one that runs the program on a daily basis. He's the one onboarding the merchants, and he's got some help from the junior coaches. But I want them because it's their community. It's not my community. I'm an outsider. And as an outsider, I don't want to be seen as the face of the organization.
Yeah. And if you see Bitcoin Ekasi, we talked about the short term. What is the next step for this community to grow?
To get Bitcoin into the wider community. So not only the shop owners, but in anybody in the community interested in saving, and even if it's small amounts at a time. Is it really necessary to buy 2 energy drinks today, or can you skip one and save that amount of money for next week or next month?
Exactly.
Just that mentality of savings, that low time preference thing. I think it can have a big impact, even if you're not saving massive amounts of money.
Yeah, and you also have donators who can donate to your project. But yeah, would it be nice to have the possibility to donate using a recurring payment, for example, for sponsoring a child? I saw it is possible now using PayPal, but is this something you really miss on the Lightning Network?
Yeah, I mean that's the one convenient thing about PayPal, is that we can take recurring donations. People sign up once and they forget about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But with Lightning and Bitcoin, so far it hasn't been possible.
No.
But it'll come. I mean, it'll come eventually.
Yeah, they're working on Bolt 12, so perhaps that will be the solution. And I also think, recurring payments with PayPal, perhaps you have more fees than with Lightning.
Oh, way more.
Yeah,
way more. PayPal takes a massive cut, and it's not only PayPal; it's PayPal plus it's 2 intermediary banks
exactly
that we have to go through to get the funds from PayPal into our bank account in South Africa.
Yeah.
By the time it gets here, we've lost like 20%, 15%.
That's awful. That's something similar to the remittances story with Western Union. I think 20% is a hell lot of money, and it would be very very nice to just not lose that, and for you to be able to invest it in your community.
Yeah, to use it for good. Yeah, so important.
Yeah, we could have done a lot with the fees that we've paid to banks and PayPal over the last 10 years.
Yeah. Certainly, man.
Are you using a custodial solution for your donations at the moment? How does it exactly work with Lightning?
So on chain is non-custodial. The donations we get on chain is through a straight to wallet service, but on Lightning, everything, 95% of what we do on Lightning so far is still custodial. It's pretty complex to get your head around it. Yeah. And I'm not super technical.
But we have a whole community who can help out.
Yeah, exactly.
The Bitcoin community is very helpful, and so I think if you want some help with it, you can ask in our community or maybe the other existing communities. Yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, I would love to. I mean, my way of thinking about it is that, with Bitcoin, as long as you're moving in the direction of self-custody, you're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are on that journey, just keep on moving further and further towards the self-custody side of things. Even if it's moving slowly, you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, but I think it also needs some trust, as you already mentioned, of course, especially from the people from the communities you're in. I think that's very important. And I think these people are very far from hyper-Bitcoinization. But if we think about hyper-Bitcoinization, will this change the relationship between developing countries and the rest of the world? And what will this mean for Bitcoin Ekasi?
I mean, look, I would love to live in a world where what we're doing isn't necessary. But we are doing what we're doing because we don't live in that world, and hopefully Bitcoin can bring us closer that world. I think the relationship between powerful countries and less powerful countries are very unfair, unbalanced. People with money have more power because they've got a bigger amount of influence over those monetary systems, and they use that to their own advantage. They leverage that power to make other people and other countries do what they want them to do. So I think Bitcoin can balance that power game out. It can give everybody a fair go.
Yeah.
Do you think,
especially as you mentioned, sorry, Edward, but mentioned, the people who are not able to save with Bitcoin, that is a huge difference also in that part, I think.
I think people become dependent on wealthier nations and on wealthier governments, and I think Bitcoin can put that reliance back in their own hands. Let them take some measure of responsibility for their own future.
Yeah. And also for, we talked about hyper-Bitcoinization to create a circular Bitcoin economy in Mossel Bay. What do you also need? Because I was thinking about more people that are educated to step up to those merchants and to really help them with the onboarding process.
Yeah, I mean, if there are other people this area is quite isolated. Mossel Bay is a small town. We're about 5 hours drive away from Cape Town, which is the nearest big city. So there aren't too many Bitcoiners around here. There are some, but not many. If there was more people in the area, if there were more people traveling through this area, it's a very popular tourism destination, beautiful area. So it's great for tourism. If there could be a sort of a Bitcoin tourism in this area, that would help a lot. But yeah, I think it's going to take people to help with education. But there's a great Bitcoin community in South Africa.
Yeah. As I mentioned, they're also part of our community.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, Edward, it's time for us to move there and to have a little vacation at Mossel Bay. I don't know how your surf skills are, but I think Herman can help us with it.
I'll sort you out.
Exactly.
Talking about those surfing lessons you give to the kids, what is the link between Bitcoin and surfing?
Bitcoin and surfing are they're both complex, but the aim is simple. So it's difficult to learn how to surf. It's not easy to learn surfing. It takes a long time to learn how to do it. It's a very difficult skill, but the aim is simple. All you're really trying to do is ride a wave. And with Bitcoin, it's similar in the way that it's not easy to get your head around it. Yeah. It's difficult to understand what it is. It's difficult to understand how it works. It's difficult to understand sometimes why the world needs it. But really the mission with Bitcoin is quite simple. It's just simply better money, a more fair, sound system of money. It's not a complex mission. It's a very simple mission. And so the mission of surfing and Bitcoin are quite singular and focused, and that's what I like about it.
Well, I think they eventually simplify very difficult stuff, right? I think that's also a big link. It's
about simplifying difficult things. Yeah.
The big questions of life, and then make it easier for everyone. Would be nice. It's a nice ending. Exactly. Yeah. Well, Herman, sorry, we had a lot more questions that we wanted to ask, but our 21 minutes are up. Perhaps cool. We would like to be able to have you on another show. That would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'd love to come back on. It's awesome.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah, it's a very cool format. I like the format.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Verbindt die wereld.
Hey, and Herman, we still have one question left for you, because last week we had Small World from LNURL, and we asked him to come up with a question for you. And Edward will play the audio file, and then you may answer it.
Yep, here it comes. Cool.
my question really for him is, what are some of the strategies and things that he's currently doing and that he would recommend to others to be able to spread the word towards hyper-Bitcoinization?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. It's a very interesting question, and I think the answer is quite simple. To spread Bitcoin and help with hyper-Bitcoinization, we have to use Bitcoin. So that means not just hodling it, but actually going out and finding ways to spend it. Actively go and look for places where you can spend it. Not all of it,
of course.
But some of it.
Stack a little, and don't send it to your friend in the United Kingdom over and over, but really spend it at a local shop and buy some groceries or some food or some drinks.
And Herman, do the kids also use it, Bitcoin or Lightning?
We have 1 senior coach and 3 junior coaches that are using it at the moment. So the junior coaches are really still kids because they're 15 and 16 years old.
Yeah.
So they're still in high school, but we haven't given it to any younger kids just yet.
No, I was thinking about the educational thing, and then, perhaps. Well,
no, we will eventually.
Okay, well, great. I think that's a good idea. Next time we have a new guest, Madeline Ash from it's a Lightning Network enthusiast of the Plebnet community. And it's great to have someone from another Lightning Telegram community on our show like ours. And we want to ask her a question from you. Which question do you have for her?
I'd like to ask, considering the fact that Lightning is more complex than on-chain Bitcoin, is it a fair expectation to expect Lightning to always be a little bit more custodial than on-chain, or does she think the two will eventually both end up at the same level of self-custody?
That's
a nice philosophical question also.
Yeah, I think it, I may not answer it, of course, but I think it depends on how easy it will be for people to run their own node and
exactly.
that kind of stuff. And it's getting easier and easier, of course, but it's still, you still need to be a bit tech savvy. I can't teach my grandma, for instance, at the moment.
Well, we have to trust the developments, and we also make it more easier to talk about it. So I'm
we are doing our part.
Curious what Madeline will say. Thanks.
It's definitely become a lot easier over the last two years. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Verbind de wereld.
Thank you, Herman, for being in our show. And we were thinking, where can our listeners go to and find more about the projects you're running, Bitcoin Ekasi and Surfer Kids?
They can go to the website. We can...
and that's bitcoinekasi.com? Yeah.
bitcoinekasi.com.
And can people donate there also?
Yes, we take on-chain donations and Lightning donations.
And Lightning, great. Yeah.
And you don't take any PayPal donations from people from our community. They have to pay with real Satoshis.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, it was very nice chat, and
exactly.
And I'm really looking with high interest to your projects and
maybe take surfing lessons, Stef.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one for the bucket list. I really wanted to visit Africa one day, so I think we will start at South Africa.
Make a movie, coming to America, coming to South Africa.
Exactly.
My favorite one.
No, definitely, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to visit.
Yeah, it looks nice from the pictures and from Google Earth, but physical, we really want to live it. So thanks.
Don't trust, verify, Edward.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, and thanks to all members participating in Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire, and of course, thanks to everyone helping to connect the world with us. If you want to support us in our mission, then you can donate using the bot in our Telegram group. And don't forget to like and share our content on your favorite platform. Keep those notes running and sets flowing and rings burning. And see you all next week with Madeline Ash on the same lighting channel. Hamba Kale, Herman.
Awesome.
Shanana.
Hamba Gutanda.